Ganesh sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. ಹಾ ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ.
Okay. Let me share my screen to just test it. Can you see my screen? Is my screen visible, Shaitya?
No, sir. No.
Okay. Check now.
Okay. No, sir.
Can you see it now?
Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Now it is visible, right?
Hmm.
Ganesh sir, am I audible? Oh. Shaitya, it's visible
It
and
is
audible.
visible,
Huh?
sir.
Like you
Yes,
can
yeah.
hear me,
Yes,
right? Correct.
yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Like this only deserves it. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Can anyone please confirm if you can hear my voice? Am I audible? Anybody in the audience, please give confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks for the confirmation. As well as my screen is visible, right? You can see what I have presented here. Yes, so I have the chat confirmation. So anybody else, can you please confirm if you can see my screen as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks for the confirmation, Nikhil sir. So I welcome you all for today's session, which is on written communication skills that is required for both accounting and HR professionals. Okay. So this written communication skills means what exactly and how exactly you articulate sentences on a paper, right? Time and again, you might always hear that communication is the key. Communication is always important, be it in your personal life or in your professional life, whatever it is. You might have heard many times that it is always communication which is the key for success, for profession, whatever it is. So in total, we have two kinds of communication, the verbal and the non-verbal, which is the written. Verbal communication is what you hear, what you speak, right? And what is the written communication is what you write on paper. Understood? So this is the written communication skills, which is very much required. So I can see that we have many in-house team, Fincurious team members who have joined. All across India, participants have joined. So it is on your responsibility and it is your responsibility that you should guide your students accordingly. Apart from the technical content that we have developed, it is better and it is always your responsibility to guide them on the written communication skills as well. Like what are the pointers, what is the rule, what is the grammar that has to be considered, etc. and etc. Clear? So let me once again welcome you all and introduce myself. My name is Sudeep Singh. I work as the Revenue Operations Manager in Fincurious. So I'm a certified management communication specialist by Harvard University as well. With this, let me proceed with the session. So the objectives that I have for today. Okay. So I'm going to discuss today regarding the importance of English, the basic grammar or the rules that you need to take care of while writing sentences on a paper, how to write an email. Why I have given email? Because nowadays the official communication is only on the email. Am I right? It is email in which you write communication, right? Officially. I know we have WhatsApp, we have Teams, Skype, everything. But what is considered for records is the email communication. Okay. And for important points to write email, FAQ, examples, everything. So before I start, I cannot see as many videos turned on. So I would request you all to please turn your videos on, okay? So that we can have an interactive session and we can thoroughly understand what is there in this training session. So I request you all, if you are really comfortable, please do turn your videos on. So that, as I told, in an interactive session, the learning is always bi-directional, right? Both of us can learn with each other. Yep, I can see a few videos getting turned on. Thank you so much for that. So in the session, anytime you want to ask something, you can always unmute and talk, or better, you can write your comments and your questions in the chat box. Okay. Is it clear? You can either unmute and ask, or you can write it in the chat box. So with this, let me proceed with the session. So the first one, importance of English. Why English is required? Why the fluency is required whenever you are writing emails or whenever you are writing something for official communication? See, we are in the state of colonial hangover, right? And we belong to a Commonwealth nation. See, what does that mean? That means we were ruled by Britishers before. So because of this, what has happened is each and every communication of us in the entire country and world also, English is the standard business language. Of course, you can ask, if you go to China, only Mandarin works. But India and other countries, Europe, America, whatever it is, English is the business communication language. What I mean to say is, whenever you are writing something, even though you might be, what can I say, you are very well versed in your mother tongue and you may not prefer English also. But the current scenario is in such a way that it is imperative, it is required for you to learn English. And whenever you are writing, right, in English, or whenever you're articulating sentences for an email, for an official communication, you should show the command there. That means you should learn the fluency, or you should write it in such a way that cross-cultural communication should also happen. That means whenever you start working in a company, there many diversified people will be your colleagues, right? Like maybe some other country colleagues you might get, or you might get other state colleagues also, whatever it is. So English is like one binding thing, one common language which can be used for cross-cultural communication. Understood. As well as I mentioned, English is the most important thing when business communication is concerned. Whether you raise an invoice, you ask for something, whatever it is. Okay. So English is very important for you to learn when you're first writing the communication or officially whatever you want to write. Okay, let me move on to the next slide. See, this tool, like English, when you're writing on a piece of paper, right, should always use it as a tool to ensure that you are communicating whatever you wanted to convey. So whatever is in your thought process, it is very much important that you put the same across the paper as well. Then only whenever somebody reads that, he will understand what you're actually trying to convey or what do you mean. So what is the prerequisite for this? What you need to understand is that you should have a good command on your words. What are the sentences that you use? How is your grammar? Okay. So today in this session, I will be giving you few pointers regarding grammar as well. Okay. Like what are the rules you need to follow? So with these grammatical rules, grammar means rules of English, right? We can speak whatever we want, but it's your responsibility and it is on your part that whenever you are writing, you should ensure that the grammar is followed. And the same thing, you should also guide your students. I can see Fincurious ATC members have also joined. That's why I'm mentioning this, that whenever you are guiding your students, apart from this technical aspect, it is your responsibility to guide them on both soft skills as well as the written skills. Soft skills includes communication. Okay? That is the main part. So what I want to drive home here is that English you should use as a tool for employability as well as to show that you know things and to convey what you want to actually convey to the speaker or the reader or whoever it is. Clear with this? So let me proceed further. The next slide I have is basic grammar. I know this will sound as back to school kind of a thing, wherein you might have heard about grammar somewhere in your high school, the rules that you need to follow, what is a sentence, what is the parts of speech, tenses, persons and articles. See, Wren and Martin, you might have heard, have you heard the name Wren and Martin by any chance? Anybody in the audience? You might have heard the name W.R.N. Wren and Martin. Anybody? See, I need the interaction. Okay, then only I can, it's good for me to proceed as well. Yeah, Wren and Martin, you might have heard. It's a 400 pages book which talks about English grammar. So the entire grammar rules as given by the founders of grammar, right? It's a 400-page book. But here I have concised the entire thing into 5 heads. So whenever you are writing something, if you have the correct sentence, correct parts of speech, correct tense, correct persons, correct articles. If you have these 5 things, right, then you can ensure that your communication is okay and good to go. Okay. So these 5 heads of grammar, you should always be clear and you should not make any mistakes in these 5 heads of grammar. Okay. So let me proceed with the first grammar, the first head of grammar, which is called a sentence. Now, what is a sentence? See, you know that sentence, sentence is a very quite common colloquial word. Okay. So if I have to define a sentence, it is a group of words that make sense, right? I'm talking to you, I'm telling something, it is a sentence. So you write the same, for example, Sudeep is taking a session. So that is a sentence, right? So you're writing something which is giving the meaning. You should not truncate any sentence. Like if you say, Sudeep is taking, that's all. And if you don't continue, then that is not a sentence because the meaning is not made clear. Understood? So that is what is called a sentence. Now there are 4 kinds of sentences. It's just 4 kinds. One is the assertive sentence. What is it called? A statement. That means you are stating habitual truth. For example, my name is Shruti. I am an engineering graduate. So it's just stating a fact, right? This is a fact. You're stating fact, habitual truth. So this is called assertive sentence. So how it is used in written skills means you will never say, I call myself Sudeep, right? That's the wrong version of saying it. So whenever you are saying assertive sentence or using assertive sentence, you should be clear and concise and it should end with a full stop. Whichever sentence ends with a full stop is assertive. You are truncating the sentence. You cannot write my name is Sudeep and comma. If you write comma means there should be continuation. Understood what I'm trying to say? So the assertive statements is what you are using, you use to say something. Okay. My name is Sudeep. I'm an engineering graduate. I'm an accountant professional. I'm a think curious student, whatever it is. That is called. Now comes interrogative statement. That means question. When can I expect your call? That is a question, right? So whenever you are writing somebody, you will always ask, when can I expect the response? When can I expect the call? May I know what details are required from my end? So whichever sentence ends with a question mark, interrogative sentence, or you're asking a question. Understood? Like if you write, when can I expect your call and put a full stop, that is a grammatical mistake. Whenever you're asking questions, ensure that it is a question mark. And next, exclamatory sentence. That is, you're acting or you're exclaiming surprise. Okay. Like OMG, quite popular with the Gen Z professionals today. The salary is too less, the salary is too good. I have just given it for the comic character here. Okay. But these things you should never write it in an email or in official communication. See, it is better to avoid exclamatory sentence whenever you are writing something. whenever you're writing an email, apart from greetings, please do not use any exclamation sentence. No, there is absolutely no requirement for you to show surprise. You will never write an email like this, right? I was so surprised to see the job posting that is so suitable for me. You will not write like that. Am I right? Whenever you're approaching somebody officially, there is no requirement for you to show any surprise. So take it from me, it is better to avoid exclamatory sentence. The fourth kind of sentence is imperative sentence, wherein you command or you request something. I want more salary. That is a command. Again, exclamatory and imperative sentences should never be used in official communication. You can ask or you can write, I would be willing to discuss my salary further. I have few doubts regarding my salary, which I want to discuss. But you will never say, I want more salary, that's why I want to discuss. No, you should not write like that. So in the four kinds of sentences, whenever you are drafting an email, ensure that you are avoiding exclamatory and imperative sentence. Okay. Assertive and interrogative is a part and parcel of any communication email or any official communication you want to make. Any doubts in the sentences? Anybody in the audience? You have any query? You want to ask something? You want to interrogate me? You can do it. Any question? Anybody in the audience? Is the sentences part clear? Say, I need response. Okay, don't make me do it in the military style. I'll start picking and asking. Anybody in the audience?
Yeah.
Clear? Somewhat you remember your high school days, if I am not wrong. Like somewhere during my high school, in my 8th, 9th, 10th, I studied grammar, something like that. Understood? Clear till here? So shall I proceed further? So you can use your chat box and just drop me a message. Like you have any doubts, you want me to explain this, whatever it is. So I can proceed further then. Let me go to the next part of the grammar that I have. Parts of speech. Okay. What is the parts of speech means? Whatever words you use in a sentence, that is called as parts of speech. Okay. The very famous, the first one is noun. Name, place, or thing. For example, my name, Sudeep, that's a proper name. Son, Bangalore, is called a common noun. What is the difference between proper and common? Proper is used to address an individual. Okay. When it is something of a common sense, everybody uses the same name, means it's a common. Like everybody calls Bangalore, Bangalore only, right? Or Bangalore, whatever it is. But for me, Sudeep is my name. Nobody can call some other name, right? That's called as name. That means whenever you are writing an email or an official communication, you should address the correct person whom you are referring to. See, if you are referring to an invoice or you are referring to a candidate, you should properly address. Like, it was very nice to meet you, Sudeep. You can write it in an email. Understood? So, I would like to meet you in Bangalore. That is a sentence. That means you're addressing, right? So, whenever you're using noun, please ensure that you're properly addressing it. Okay. Then comes the pronoun. Pronoun is what? You use something instead of a noun. So, what is pronoun? I, me, myself, like that. So, in most of the official communication, usually pronouns are also used. Like nowadays, whenever you write an email or whatever it is, you write, I am writing this email. I hope you are doing good. I am an engineering graduate. I am Sudhi, whatever it is. So I is used. It is better and to avoid me and myself. It is used in place of noun, but better to avoid. It is not that it's like reject or not ban, nothing like that. It is better to avoid. Then comes the adjective. What you describe as noun. He is a good candidate. Right? What do you do with this? He's a good candidate means you're trying to justify or trying to describe the candidate. For example, you become a HR in the future, you go to a company, your manager might ask, you took an interview of a person, right? Please share the feedback over an email. So what will the HR do? He will start writing or articulating. So he will have to use adjective, right? Like, for example, if I was the candidate, Sudeep is a good candidate. He has good knowledge about so and so. He is very proactive, whatever it is. So whenever you are using adjective, it is used to describe the noun or the place. So whenever you are using this, you should be very careful. If you use good instead of bad or bad instead of good, you know what will happen, right? Even though if he is a good candidate, you write in an email telling that he's a bad candidate, means what will happen? It will negate the entire meaning, right? So what I'm trying to say is whenever you are describing nouns using a pronoun, you should always be very careful. Okay. Then preposition. Preposition is used to give a relationship between the noun, right? Please come on time. Okay. If a HR professional writes an email to a candidate to come on time for this so and so interview, you will use the word on. Okay. That is why whenever you're using prepositions, right, it is used to draw a relationship between the noun. So instead of on, if you use in, at, it gives a different meaning. So whenever you're using in, at, on, whatever the pronouns, prepositions you use in your email, right, you should always be very careful. And the next comes conjunction. What is conjunction? And, but, if, because, which is used to join two sentences, right? Whenever you're writing something, always during talking also, you'll be using and, but. Okay. Say, for example, you might be an accountant professional, you're writing to get some clarification, but the other guy might have told, no, I have already given the clarification. Then you can add, I know you have given the clarification, but it would be helpful for me if we can connect over a call. So you can see how the word but was used, right? So whenever you want to join sentences, you will use the word but. So these are the parts of speech. First, I talked about sentences. Inside this sentence, you will get the parts of speech. Noun, pronoun, adjective, preposition, and conjunction. Any queries here? Do you have any doubts in parts of speech? What is the parts of speech? Anything? Anybody in the audience, you can just unmute and talk. No doubts, is it? You can use the chat box if you have any doubts, otherwise I can proceed further.
No, sir.
Thanks for the confirmation, sir. Okay. Now comes the most important part, tenses. What is a tense? Okay. So tense is something that you describe the time in a sentence. Okay. What is a tense? You describe time in a sentence. So there are 6 common tenses that everybody uses. First is the simple present tense. Like, I am a graduate. I am certified by Fincurious in GST. So this is a simple present tense. So whenever you are saying an action that is happening right now or happens regularly, that means you are always a graduate, right? You will never write, I was a graduate. Was means past, which is wrong. Understood? So whenever you are writing habitual truths, right, that you are writing, you are mentioning a fact, you use simple present tense. Like, I am a graduate, I speak English, I speak Telugu, I am certified by Fincurious, like that. You will not say, I spoke Telugu, right, whenever you are mentioning. So that is why whenever you are mentioning any action that is happening right now and will keep on happening, right, at that time, you should mention simple present tense, or you should use simple present tense to do it. Okay. Then comes the simple past tense. An action which has happened. It is done. What? I completed Fincurious certification course last month. Simple. Wherein you are declaring that you have finished last month. So when the time is coming, right, you are trying to say that you have finished Fincurious certification. That means the last month time is there. So whenever you are trying to describe an action before a particular time, you use simple past tense. Okay. You cannot write, I am completing Fincurious certification course last month. Doesn't make a sense, right? You're understanding what I'm trying to say, no? So whenever you're describing something which is happening now or habitual truth, use simple present tense. Simple past tense for something that you were using before. The action has happened. So that's when you use simple past tense. Now simple future tense. So I will join Fincurious course next week. I will join your company next week. Here, the time sense is given for you to tell that you will be joining at a later stage. Okay. So that is simple future tense. So simple present tense, whatever is happening right now, it happens regularly. Simple past tense, a completed action in a time before now. Simple future tense, you talk about things that haven't happened yet. Okay. Let me go to the next three sentences. Yeah. Present continuous tense. So what is present continuous tense? That is happening now and may continue in the future. Say, for example, I am writing this email to apply for the position of accountant. I am writing, the ing comes here, right? I am writing this email to apply for the job. Okay. So whenever you're using present continuous tense, you're currently doing the action and may continue in the future, like that. So when you're writing, I'm writing this email to apply for the job position, it is not yet closed, right? You're not yet hired. So that particular thing keeps on happening. That's why present continuous tense should be used. Now, past continuous tense. For example, I was speaking to the HR yesterday. Actions or events in a time. Yesterday is there, right? If you say you don't want to mention time, I spoke to the HR, that is a past tense. I was speaking to the HR yesterday or day before yesterday. Whenever you are addressing time, right, then you are supposed to use past continuous tense. Then comes the present perfect tense. What is it? It's an action or situation that has started in the past and continues in the present. For example, I have considerable experience in accounts payable. Still the experience will go, right? It's not like you're totally experienced, nothing like that. So if you can see the examples, you will understand what is present perfect. Here, an action or situation that started in the past and continues in the present. I have considerable experience in accounts payable. I have experience in technology, whatever it is. So that is called as present perfect tense. So present continuous, past continuous, and present perfect. So what were the previous three tenses? Simple present tense, simple past tense, simple future tense. The next one is present continuous tense, past continuous tense, and present perfect tense. Any queries in the tenses? Anybody in the audience? Any queries? What is the tense? Anything that you want me to repeat? Anybody? Any queries? You can use the chat box. Okay. Thanks for the confirmation. Okay. So let me go back to the tenses. Just to repeat, 6 common tenses: present, past, future, present continuous, past continuous, present perfect. Okay. Then comes the persons. How do you address? Like, for the first person means I, me, myself, and mine. Second person, you will address you, yours, yourself. Third person, he, she, it, them. Okay. So whenever you are writing an email or an official communication, it is very important for you to understand what person you are using. First, second, third. For example, first means you are doing something like I. So I am doing it. I am a graduate, right? For yourself, you will not say he, right? He is a graduate. You cannot say like that. If you're addressing someone else, you can say he is a graduate. That means you're addressing a third person. So in a conversation, when you're writing an email, it is between you and the recipient of the email. So the first person is you, second person is the recipient. So the third person will never come here. Whereas when you're addressing a crowd or you're drafting the email to many people, at that time you can use them. I'm writing this email to bring to the notice of them or group. Understood? The first person, second person, third person is as it says. First person is only when you are involved. Second person means when you and the recipient is involved. That means only 2 individuals are involved. Third person means when you are involved with the group. Understood? This is called as persons. The first person, second person, and the third person. Any queries in the persons? Anybody in the audience? Do you have any query? Understood regarding persons? Like I, me, myself means first person. You, your, yourself means second person. Third person means he, she, it, them. Okay. I have a chat. Let me say, okay, thanks for the confirmation. Now let me go to the next slide. This is called as articles. What is articles? A and the means articles. That's it. Okay. So a blue pen, a good guy, a European. So what is an honest man, an apple? What is the difference? You use a or an depending on the vowel or consonant. What is vowel? The letters A, E, I, O, U is called as vowel. Vowel sound, for example. Honest man means it is O. H is silent, right? You know, honest, in honest, H is silent. So the O comes. So whenever you have an vowel sound, A, E, I, O, U. Again, let me repeat. A, E, I, O, U. If you have a vowel sound in the next word, you should use an before. If not, use a before. You cannot say an European, an good guy. No, it is a good guy and a European. Why? Because European is European, right? That is you will come. So you're getting what I'm trying to say, right? So whenever an vowel sound comes in front of, at that time you're supposed to use an. If not, use a. When are you using the? When you use superlatives. Like you give respect to a person, like or a thing, the best, the Ganges or the Ganga that you say, or the Yamuna. You never say Ganga or Yamuna in a sentence, right? Whenever you're drafting an email and you want to give importance to something, at that time you prefix the. Clear? Articles A, and the. Sometimes the is called as the also. The difference is during Shakespeare's time, 17th and 18th century, the was pronounced as the Merchant of Venice, the Hamlet. That's how the was pronounced. But later on, you can either say the best or the best. Both are same. And it's acceptable. So let me repeat, vowel sound, A, E, I, O, U. If the vowel sound is there, before that, an should be used. If not, you use a. The is used for superlatives. Okay, something you want to give a respect. Clear with this? Any query you have? Any queries? Anybody in the audience? Any query you have? You can just ask me. Okay, I have a chat box. Okay, thanks for the confirmation. Let me proceed further. Now, coming to the, I'm just moving to the example section. Okay, like how to write an email. What is the best format to do? Some samples for email. Okay. So one important rule that you need to follow when you write an email is it should be simple and clear. That's it. Okay. Format may change, whatever may change, your alignment may change. It should look professional, but the one is it should be simple and clear. Whenever you're writing an email, you should ensure that it is simple and clear. If you write pages together, nobody will read. Okay. I have a message, Chetan. Honorable will use. I didn't understand the question, sir. Chetan, can you please unmute and speak? What was the question? You can unmute and talk. Otherwise, I will take it at the end. Okay.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Sir, while using the honorable means, we will be using the, no, sir. Why you said A should be used in the before vowel. Vowel.
Honorable is, see, when you say honorable, right?
Ah.
The should not.
Okay.
Whenever you're using, say, honorable person, honorable distinguished guest. When you're starting honorable first, right? That's it. You will not use the before. You will not say the honorable.
Okay. Fine, sir.
Understood?
Fine, sir. Okay.
Thanks, sir. So as I was telling, how to write an email means it should be simple and clear. Now, let me come to the most important points of email. Here. So I have seen many people just making a fault in the first start, which is they write the wrong email ID. That happens, okay? Whenever you're copy pasting, you should be very clear that you're entering the exact correct email ID. The recipient email ID should be double checked, triple checked, then only you should write. Then comes the subject. What is the subject? I'm sorry for that. I'm a bit under the weather. That's why I got a cough. So sorry for that. So as I was telling, next comes the subject. So what is the subject? Subject is the first line somebody sees when you send an email, right? Whenever you send an email, first thing that they see is the subject. So what you should do with the subject, you should be again very clear and concise. Then comes the salutation, like greetings for the day, hope you are doing good, like that. Then comes the body of the email. For example, what exactly you want to write in the email. Okay. So the three main important thing is first, ensure that you are giving it to the right person. Then comes the subject. Then comes the greetings. Then comes the body of the email. Understood? So this is how email is split. Then comes, just hold on. Yeah. Then comes professional email address. That means whenever you are writing an email, right, the recipient can see your email. I have seen some email which presents, for example, sudeeprockstar@gmail.com. It doesn't work like that. Okay? So whenever you are writing an email, ensure that you have a professional email. If not, make one. Say, for example, my email ID is mdsudeepsingh@gmail.com. Only my name is there. Sometimes you may not get the email ID. You can append number or whatever it is, but ensure that it is professional. Okay, as I was telling your subject line, whenever you are writing subject line, that should clearly mention what is the purpose. So whenever somebody sees email, for example, you might see your email in your Gmail app, right? Many a times you just check the subject and you ignore it. Or if it is important, depending on the subject, you go inside it. Clear? That's why the subject line, whenever you write an email, it should be very clear and concise. Clear? Let me go to the next slide. Yeah. Email body. So what is the email body? Is wherein you will write the complete message. Okay. Then comes the sign off. Subject line, greetings, email body, and email sign off. So these four things you should be very clear of. Let me repeat. Subject line, greetings, email body, and email sign off. I will show you a few examples as well so that you can understand thoroughly. Yeah. See, this is one particular example for formal email writing. Okay. So what is it? You're applying for a job. See, this is very much important for FinCurious students, right? Most of them are job seekers. So if a student is applying for a job, how his email should be? This is just a sample email I'm giving. For example, dear recipient's name. Sometimes the candidate might know the name, or dear sir, dear madam, or dear sir/madam. Please find my application for the accountant post. I have attached. You can see it, right? Which sentence I'm talking about. I have attached my CV or I have attached resume. That's a simple present tense. Please find my application, simple present tense. I am excited to apply for the position. I have reviewed. That is a simple past tense. See, in the beginning, I told you, right? This is all group of sentences. Okay. Here, whenever you see this format, this is a format for the application of the job. if you follow the grammatical rules that I told in the beginning, there you will get the complete thing. Okay. So as you can see this format is an example for application for job. Dear sir, please find my application. I have attached. I'm excited to apply for the position like that. See, for example, at the end, please provide me with the details on the next one. A simple present tense. Clear? Then best your name. That's it. A very clear and concise email which clearly states what is the purpose of the email. That is the application for the job. Okay. Let me go to the next example. Assume you're an accountant professional. You are inside the job. Now something you want to raise the wrong bill investment. So for example, the invoice is wrong bill. So you can see the subject, right? Wrong bill received. Request for revised invoice. Once somebody sees this subject, he will understand. Then see greetings, an exclamation sentence. Then I'm writing this letter, a present continuous sentence, so that you are trying to say everything. So this is one such format in which you are trying to request for revised invoice. See, the order was placed for 10 books. It's a past tense. You have already placed the order, right? Here, if you write the order is placed, that means now you are placing. So whatever rules I was telling in the grammar, the complete rules has been followed. That's how this email has come. Understood? If you can see this email is for request to revised invoice. Understood? Any clear with the previous, any doubts with the previous two examples? You can use the chat box also. Any doubts? Okay. Thanks for the confirmation. There's one more example here. Say, for example, you're an HR professional. You are inside a company. You want to take whatever you want to take feedback, whatever it is. At that time, see, hi, employee name. We are currently trying to evaluate. Currently trying, present continuous tense. What is that? They are trying to evaluate employee benefit program, which is a continuous process. So the present continuous tense is used. Understood? This is one such example wherein when you are already inside a company, you're trying to take a survey or employee feedback, whatever it is. Okay. We can go through this example. If you have any queries, you can ask me. Any query? See, now is the time you can directly ask me any questions regarding anything. For example, the entire rules and everything I talked about, right? Few pointers that I gave you. Now, if you have any queries, anything about this session, you can ask me. No queries, or you can use your chat box also if you're comfortable in raising the query in the chat box. It's clear. Thanks for the confirmation. Anyone else? Anybody else in the audience? Any other query you have? I can see Center Director Arun sir. Any query?
No, sir. Clear, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thanks for the confirmation, sir. If there is no any other query, then I will wind up the session because weekend is approaching. I don't want to take much of your time. So I thank you all for attending this session. Anyways, you have my number. I can see most of the FinCurious team here. Anything else that you can personally ask me. Otherwise, I thank you all for attending the session. We'll be winding up. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.